Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We're your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm vengeance. That's how I'm fucking doing, Tyler. We finally got to see it. The Batman. What
hmm
we've been waiting for. I knew this day was going to happen ever since the first fucking trailer dropped.
Almost 2 years we have been waiting for this film.
Matt Reeves has officially made me eat my words because this film was fan fucking tastic.
So, can I collect my "I told you so" when he was announced, and you had doubts. You had some doubts.
I did. I did.
I
I had
told
faith
you
in Matt Reeves,
he's
but it
going to
was
do it.
yeah, he did, and he fucking did, pal.
So yeah, we are talking about the Batman. We have no idea how long this episode will be. It'll probably be one of our lengthier ones. So sit down, relax. Also, right out of gate, we are talking full spoilers, top to bottom.
Oh yeah.
This is a 3-hour film. There are Easter eggs to discuss, theories on the sequel.
Huge Easter eggs.
We got a lot to talk about. So I would say before we get all that fun discussion where we can just hypothesize about where we can go, Mike, I'll just kick it off to you. For this film itself, what stood out to you as like the strongest parts of the film?
It's a good question, Tyler. Strongest parts in the film.
Yeah, we can't
The
lavish this
fact that
praise
it
unless
was
we pinpoint what makes it so good.
well, number one, the pacing for the majority of the film is perfect. There was really only one part of the movie where the pacing felt a little bit slower than the rest,
Mhm.
and that was the hospital scene with Alfred and Bruce. For some reason, it just felt like it dragged. I don't know why. Like it's not a bad scene. It just felt I don't know, a little bit slower paced than how the movie was going because the movie was like trucking forward and then hit that and it was like a fucking school zone, so they had to slow it down for a second and then it picked right back up again. I don't know if you felt like that.
I felt a bit differently. I thought the scene itself, the Alfred Batman, Bruce Wayne scene, I thought that was perfectly paced. I thought that was fine. We needed that slowdown. They needed to have that heart to heart because one thing coming into this film is they are not in a good relationship at all.
Yeah,
Um,
not really. It was
really,
definitely
Alfred
different
is,
to see that.
I mean, kind of like the abused butler at this point, really. Bruce Wayne making snide comments, "You're not a Wayne. You're not my father." It's like, all
Yeah.
right. I mean, we'll get into a bit more why that works for this film, but that's the status of their relationship. But I will say, to add on to what you said, is I think that whole 15, 20 minutes or so where Bruce finds out about his father, goes to Carmine to find out more, and then goes to Alfred. It's like bang, 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 and then we're done talking about his parents for the rest of the film. I felt that was kind of odd
Yeah, and I felt it was
because it
it
kind
was
of felt
kind of
like we
weird.
had the main Riddler plot. We then deviated to about a 20-minute subplot of how Thomas Wayne was looked to be a corrupt man, murderous man, but then Alfred's like, no, he was weak and he was only like slightly corrupted, but he still cared about you and the family and he's honorable. And then Bruce like, all right, I'm cool with it. And his emo
Yeah,
look, but
so
yeah.
so that's kind of an interesting point to bring up now. So I thought it was kind of weird how like Bruce just seemed to casually accept everything everyone was saying as truth. And it's like, why would you trust fucking a mob boss
But to
with the
be
truth?
fair, Carmine wasn't lying.
But he
He
just wasn't telling the whole truth
he
because
wasn't
it's
telling the whole
also
truth, but that's not lying. He's deviating. He's just skipping the fact. It was like, well,
he might have had a hand in killing his parents. Like he might have.
it's like, yeah, also Thomas didn't want me to kill him, but like I had an opportunity to own him, so I did kind of kill him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but
he just seemed a little bit too to accept kind of both their stories. Because I mean, at this point, can
yeah,
we as an audience even trust Alfred? You know what I mean?
I think then you bring up a good point because like
We don't really see much of Alfred in
like
this
Matt
movie. He's
Reeves
kind
and
of
the team
sidelined.
clearly think like because we know Alfred and Alfred has never been bad ever. We have the preconceived notion that whatever Alfred is saying is the truth,
Yes.
even though with this version of Batman they could go differently. And I'm not saying I want a corrupted Alfred or an asshole Alfred. I'm not saying that, but for as much work as they put into setting up the timeline for this universe and building everything, it's like you're right. Bruce is kind of like, and I would accept Bruce taking Alfred at his word if he showed the guy any bit of compassion besides when he got blown up.
Yeah.
Like up until Alfred being blown up and almost dying, if Alfred was to drop dead in front of Bruce, I really don't think he'd care. It was only that scene was like, oh wow, you actually do care about Alfred.
Yeah. I could see that. But in the same sense, I think it took Bruce to realize almost losing Alfred kind of pushed him in the direction to be, I don't know, a little bit more
Yeah.
open, I guess. Because before that, he was very closed off, like, nah, this is what the fuck I'm doing. Screw the accountants. I'll burn all my fucking money.
Well, I wouldn't say just more open, but like you mentioned in the hospital scene, I do think the hospital scene, I know you mentioned you have an issue with Mason, but I really think it's one of the best scenes in the movie because
I don't know, man. There's a lot of good scenes.
There was, but thematically, the scene was important because the whole theme
Yeah,
of this movie, there's a reason why it's called The Batman. Bruce Wayne in this film does not exist. There is no Bruce Wayne.
correct.
It is the Batman inside and out. And I think him almost losing Alfred is the spark that starts to bring back Bruce Wayne.
Yes,
And
and
that
also,
conversation with his fear, like he mentioned, he never thought he would feel that fear again when he lost his parents, and he did when he almost lost Alfred.
yeah. So here's also another thing. I think this movie exceeded past any other Batman movie to date. This movie really showed the transition of Batman being the night stalking vigilante to actually becoming a hero. And I think the final moments of the movie really solidify that. And, he's always made out to be a hero in the public eye in all the films, but we
No,
never actually see that transition to where the public is like, no, this guy's actually a hero, not just a vigilante that catches bad guys. Because when he's evacing all the people that were injured and, you know, was that a younger girl that was getting airlifted and she was nervous and he kind
yeah,
of
she wouldn't let go of his arm.
correct. Because he's now like this is a movie where he earns the full trust of Gotham City. Like,
Mhm.
hey, this guy may be a little bit loony, but he's really trying.
He means good. He's good people.
Correct.
I mean, it's kind of weird. Like for as much like as this is like the darkest, bleakest Batman film ever, and all of that, which is kind of true.
It
It's
is.
also kind of weird that the last 10 minutes of the film is really hopeful. Like it's
Yeah,
like yeah, Gotham's kind of a wreck, and there's going to be some bad shit coming, but
clearly.
the scene you just described where he's helping people and people recognize it, like, wow, this is kind of upbeat because, like, I mean, the ending of The Dark Knight, for example, wasn't upbeat at all.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, not upbeat. So it's definitely like compared to the past few Batman films we've gotten, it ended on a somewhat happy ending.
It really did. And that's why I'm saying we've never really seen that aspect
Mhm.
in a Batman movie. So I think it definitely gets points in my book for showing that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's go
Also,
back to the
let's.
on vengeance line. I was kind of surprised that they went that way with the on vengeance because you first see the trailer, on vengeance, like everyone's like, oh, it's such a badass line. But they take that one line that Batman says to criminals in his 2 years,
Mhm.
and they spin that into, oh, he fucked up moment. When the Riddler's associates, when he's beating them up, and they say their vengeance as well. That look on his face, and shout out to Robert Pattinson for just expressing with his eyes. Like you could see in
Yep.
his eyes, he realized, oh no, I fucked up so bad.
Yeah.
They're looking to
Also,
him for what to do. And that was not what he meant to do at all.
correct. And he also low key inspired the Riddler as well. If we're going
Yep.
down that route, I do like the plot twist though, because the whole movie they're building up that the Riddler knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, right? Especially
Mhm.
in the Arkham scene, you're thinking, and even Robert Pattinson's thinking he knows who I am. But then and then he it does that 180. It was really a reverse plot twist
It was a great plot
because
twist.
it was and that's when he opened up more as Batman because he felt more confident. He felt vulnerable. That's why he was really quiet during that whole beginning of the scene, because he's approaching it as, this guy knows who I am. He keeps saying fucking Bruce Wayne, worried about the cameras, and then whole 180. But I want to go
You
back.
caught the one hint though, the one hint early on in the film that Riddler did not know, right?
Why don't you lay that one out?
So Alfred gets the present. He gets the bomb and the envelope. The envelope is in a fireproof bag. So in Riddler's mind, Bruce Wayne would get the bomb, he would blow himself up, and then Batman would arrive on the scene, open the fireproof bag for the card.
Yeah.
So, but again, besides that one hint, if you don't catch that entire scene is great. That Bruce Wayne, like,
yeah,
Paul Dano. Small criticism of the film: we should have had more Riddler. I'm sorry, like one of the better scenes in the film is the church with the bomb around the guy's neck, and that tense moment of it's going to go off or not. That scene's great, but Paul Dano's great acting is through a cell phone.
That's true. And that's kind of the beauty of it too, though, because you could tell he was just a fucking nutcase, once again, acting through their eyes.
Yep.
Because Riddler behind the mask was so deranged, and it was definitely intense. Paul Dano did a great performance,
which we expected. I mean, if anyone's seen Prisoners, you know
that's a fact.
You were going to get a great performance, and you fucking got one.
You did. You definitely did.
I just wish there was more of it.
I agree, but there was a lot going on in this movie.
There was, but
to its credit, there was multiple story points that went on, and they actually kind of buttoned them all up. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some criticism online that nothing really happens in the film, and like it's 3 hours of kind of nothing, and I just kind of think those comments are insane.
Kind of a lot happened in the film. I don't know if you
this movie is juggled so much. It juggles the power structure. You know, Penguin's moving his way up top. Carmine's out. We already know Maroni's out. So for villains, crime, mob boss wise, you see Penguin's ascension. You have a major new villain in Riddler. Yeah, Bruce Wayne discovering more about his family. Like I see those comments. I'm like, are we watching the same film?
Exactly.
He's not just walking around dark alleyways for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's probably the dumbest comment I've ever heard. But I want to hone us in on something very specific. I hope you don't mind. Let's talk about the Batsuit and Bat Tech.
Yes.
Where to begin? And then
before we get into it, since we're talking about the Batsuit, one thing that stood out to me a few times when they show Batman walking, the sound they have for the boots, the thump, that stood out to me. Like, this guy is carrying some armor. He's gonna pack a punch. This is just the more like building up the threat that Batman is.
Couldn't agree more. But also, let's talk about his grappling hooks. That was probably the coolest grappling hooks we've seen.
Yeah.
It was very slick, small, compact, and I do enjoy how they stuck with he grapple hooks through people's limbs and fucking yank them. I do enjoy that we're continuing that trend.
It works for windows. It works for legs. It's great.
It is. I mean, shit, that's something we first got to see in to that extent. Because we've had grappling hooks wrap around people's legs, but realistically, that's not what would happen.
Did it go through a person in the warehouse scene in Batman v Superman?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
So that's where we kind of first really saw that. His taser too, attached to his gloves.
That was interesting.
That was kind of sick.
I feel that wasn't used much after the first fight.
Nope, that was pretty much it.
I feel like it could have been used more, but especially toward the end, the ending fight. But
yeah, could have been useful. But then again, he was dangling over a lot of water.
Oh, I mean, all right. I have an issue with the suit. The suit's too bulletproof.
Yes, but he is taking. It's not that he doesn't feel it though.
No, but like, okay, you're telling me rifle rounds, pistol rounds, no problem. The only thing that will put Batman down in that armor is a shotgun. Like, really?
Well, I can understand that to some extent.
And I think the thing is, like, the Batsuit looks amazing. Don't get me wrong. It looks amazing. If this was the super bulky suit from Batman v Superman, I can understand why he's deflecting these bullets, no issue. I just don't see the armor in the suit besides the chest piece. I don't see the armor.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
What do you, nah.
This guy
That,
was taking rifle rounds on top of the stadium, like boom, boom, boom. It's like,
I
I'm
feel
sorry,
like the
what?
suit was heavily inspired by Arkham Origins suit. It's it's definitely a bulkier armor. I mean, think about it this way: if we're not talking about the mech suit, Batman versus Superman, look at every other Batsuit. This is the most armored we've ever seen it.
I will give you that. It's definitely more armored than say Keaton's and Bale's suit.
Correct. Even
Even
Bale's
for fucking Bale's,
upgraded
like
suit.
he can get stabbed with a knife. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, but even Zack Snyder's Batsuit, like, where's the armor in that?
fair,
Like,
fair
that's
point.
like real. Like, I get it. Like, it could be some real sick fucking Kevlar.
I don't know.
Like maybe
I just feel
titanium
like
Kevlar, but it's
besides the
too.
shotgun blast, if he just took a little more damage or he got a little slower taking those rifle hits, I'd believe it a bit more. But he was knocking them out one by one up until the shotgun, and that just kind of something
Yeah.
that can be
Well, I
improved
mean,
upon.
agreed. He did seem like just an unstoppable force in this
Yeah.
movie, especially where I'm going to bring this off too. So, Tyler, that green liquid he injected himself with,
Mm-hmm.
you catch that?
I did. All right, let's talk about one of the few Easter eggs. Yeah, so I find it weird that they clearly show it's green. This ain't no clear
Mhm.
liquid, so I
Yep.
would assume it's not
And
adrenaline. They clearly want to
yep,
show it's green.
correct. There's a point to it.
And there is no, and I would say to go even a step further, the fact that he, as soon as he takes it, he rages on that guy,
Oh yeah,
makes me think, while this might not be venom, that whatever
correct.
this chemical is will be the basis of bringing in Bane. Because imagine Batman almost beat a guy to death for taking one shot. Now imagine a big bulky dude having a mask, constantly having it in him. It's like he's gonna go ballistic.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna. Yeah, these
I
are
mean,
good questions.
since we're talking about Easter eggs, so over under on Hush being in the Batman movies.
Yep,
I'm
I
just
think
saying, the
we.
son of the reporter, if he finds out the truth about his father, Hush could be in play.
Yeah, I found it interesting that they made him Thomas Elliot
Yes.
because in every kind of form of media we've had of Thomas Elliot, he's always been rich doctor friend of Bruce, and his dad was also a doctor as well. So making him an adversary right from the start, definitely an interesting way to look at things. But the question is, are we going to have a multiple villain film? I mean, technically, we kind of had it in this one,
We did, but
but these are some big villains we're talking about here, though, because I don't think Bane will be in the next one.
no, I don't think so either. They just leave it open if they want to bring him in. Let's see. We
I
got
could
Hush.
see
We got
I
possibly
could see
Bane.
Bane I could see Bane and Hush being in the third movie if they make a third one. I could see that happening.
I think Joker's the third one. I don't think they do Joker for the second.
I mean, they already showed him.
Yeah, but he can be a Thanos. You just keep teasing him. Also, if Joker is the end all be all villain for Batman, it would make sense to be the finale of a trilogy.
Yeah,
And I don't
I
think that they
guess.
would want to be like too similar to Dark Knight, where it's the second film in a trilogy, main villain's Joker. Same with this one. You have another side villain and all that. It'd be too similar. But because here's the thing, we barely saw Joker's face, and
Yep.
he's still in Arkham. So you can easily have an entire second film with two or three other villains. End of the second one, he breaks out, all hell breaks loose in the third. That's what I'm thinking. Because look, we still have Riddler. Riddler's around. He looks like he's going to team up with Joker. So if you do the third film, you can bring in Riddler again as a supporting character.
Yeah, maybe get a little bit more Paul Dano.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad thing.
No, I also found it interesting how they made Martha Wayne in Arkham.
Yeah, I caught that too. I was like, all right.
They're so it's definitely Matt Reeves definitely took a lot of inspiration on
The Telltale.
the Telltale and a couple of the comics
Yeah.
variants of that because that's almost eerily similar.
Now I'm going to say something here that I'm going to be disappointed, but like I kind of feel they wrote themselves in a corner. I don't think we're going to see Court of Owls in this trilogy.
Probably not.
And the reason is the climax of the film, they make it a point that Carmine runs everything. Carmine runs the city. Everyone works for him. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, the Court of
The
Owls wouldn't
sequel,
really let that happen.
well, the sequel is not going to be good if it's like plot twist. Turns out there was a secret organization underneath Gotham that actually ran everything, and Carmine didn't know about it. It's like, really, no one knew. So
Yeah.
I kind of sucks. 'Cause I would like to see Court of Owls live action, but at this
Yeah,
point, it
him
does
versus a
seem
Talon.
no.
I kind of
Obviously,
want to see
I don't think we're getting Nightwing anytime soon. But the fact that his city was mentioned at the end by Catwoman,
Bloodhaven.
yeah,
Yeah, because you got to remember, this is still a young Bruce.
yeah,
In the theater when I was watching it, and I saw, the scene with the kid and Batman staring at him,
hmm
and then even at the funeral, I was like, oh, he's recruiting a Robin right now. Like, hey kid, you want vengeance for this? Come with me.
that. See, that could make sense too.
Yeah, because they seem to have a bond.
They seem to have a bond. Well, also, one thing that stood out early on in the film when he's just staring that kid down at the
Yeah,
crime scene. I'm like, okay, all right, so this is what
because
gets him
I
interested in this
get it.
case. Yeah,
Yeah, like I saw the reason why, because it's callbacks of him.
hmm
So I understood that aspect of it, why he was personally tied to it, because he saw, a kid lost his father. His father was definitely dirty, though. Very,
yeah.
very dirty. Pretty much
Still,
everyone in this city was,
except Gordon. Except Gordon.
of course. When is Gordon ever dirty?
Uh, one of the things I like about this film compared to other live actions is this very much felt like a Batman Gordon team up
Yes.
instead of like other films where like they interact at points and maybe they're in an action scene or two, but like this is very much like if they're like Batman's the lead, the two secondary leads are Catwoman and Gordon, basically.
Easily.
It's those three just working the case.
And they each have their time to shine as well.
I will say one thing I did not like about Gordon though, and this is not the acting. I thought Jeremy Wright did great performance, a little more on the script. They made Gordon seem a little too stupid at times. Like, cause
Yeah.
it kind of got like by the third or fourth card, he was just reading the card like, well, what does it mean? I don't know. We just read the card. Give it a second.
Yeah, you got a point there.
But I get it. He's still a detective. He's not commissioner yet, still. But speaking of Catwoman, I thought Zoe Kravitz did great. I think it's fair to say this is the best live action version of Catwoman.
Absolutely.
Okay. I thought making her Carmine's daughter
that was an interesting
was a
twist.
good way to loop her into the story.
Deal. I mean, she could always fit in the story regardless.
Yeah, but like there's
By,
more of an
her friend
emotional
being
tie to it.
Yeah. I think what really shined for Catwoman and Robert Pattinson's performances were the long take action scenes.
Yeah.
Those were fantastic. The fight choreography in this film was absolutely superb, which is kind of what we were looking for as well, which helped the dark grittiness of it. One criticism of Selina Kyle, though. So she's got a murder boner, right? For a lot of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Batman goes to it. And she's like, oh no, he's gonna kill him. It's like, weren't you like trying to kill like 6 people before?
You mean at the end when he's beating that guy to a bloody pulp?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say, just to counter your point, you're right. When she finds out her girlfriend's dead, she's got a raging murder boner to kill Carmine or whoever was in charge of her death. Absolutely. But I think at the end of the film, the reason why she was worried is that I would like to think Batman showed her there is more to, say, this kind of lifestyle than just murdering. Again, he's the one that told her, don't throw your life away. You can be better than this when getting close to kill him. So
Correct.
For her to see him lashing out and falling into the same trap as she did, I think upset her.
Right?
Because all this happens in a week. So basically, the night before, he saved her from committing something she would never be able to, change to the next night. Boom, Batman's doing the same thing. It's like, if I was her, I'd be a little shocked.
Yeah, definitely whiplash.
Yeah.
How about that rafter fight scene? Huh?
Oh,
Starting with the explosion of the roof, Batman crashing in and just fucking shit up.
I had a question about the explosions. Did Batman rig all those explosives to go off?
That's, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about that because it was awesome.
It was awesome, but like,
I'm sure he did. I'm
just
sure he
break through
did.
the window, man.
Well, he wanted to be dramatic. He's got a thing for theatrics, remember?
Yeah, he does.
So it still fits. Because also it's a thing about fear too. Are the criminals going to be afraid if one guy jumps through the roof, or all of a sudden they're not expecting the entire fucking roof explodes and this guy comes fucking crashing down?
I'll say when he does the little smoke screen and starts taking them out one by one, that is
Yeah.
definitely Arkham. That's definitely some Arkham moves right there.
Yep. And how about the elevator scene in Falcone's hideout?
Oh yes, yes. At night, yeah. By the way, everything goes dark. Yeah.
Pitch black, and you just see the gunfire with flashes of him. It definitely took inspiration from other Batman movies, and it improved on it, which I
Yes.
thought it did a terrific job at. Because we first kind of got that glimpse with Bale in Dark Knight Rises when he's going through the tunnels,
Mhm.
and you're seeing the flashes and him moving through, getting some good hits in. But this movie,
Yeah.
it was a combination between
And
Ben
one thing I did
Affleck's
like
ruthlessness.
is in the trailer when they show part of that scene, I was a little annoyed by it because of my previous criticism of him taking too many hits with the bullets. But watching this, actually, the complete sequence, my complaint for that was I had no issue with anymore because actually seeing on a big screen, seeing where the bullets are going, they were missing most of their shots.
Correct.
They couldn't fucking see. It's like,
They
yeah, they're
were
firing the gun a
stormtroopers.
lot, but they're not hitting him.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to say
action
one
in
thing
this
that
movie is great.
you mentioned how this film improved upon other Batman films. I'm going to say, and I don't know if this is a hot take or not, I think this might be the best Batmobile we've gotten live action.
Yeah, I might
Now,
have to agree with you on
it
it.
doesn't have a lot of gadgets on it, but
No.
it is its own character. The shape of it, the sound,
yeah.
how it can just crush anything, it's its own character in the film for that chase scene. It's, whew.
Yeah, Tyler, did you watch it in IMAX?
I did watch it in IMAX.
God damn, man. Fucking, that was,
When it's rumbling
sick.
for like 30 seconds, do you feel that sound in your chest?
Yeah. Especially when he was messing with the penguin, too. Like, all right, I'm going to give you a head start. He just completely redlines it. Let's go to the clutch a little bit, goes forward, and then just waits for him to get back in the car.
And just everyone's in awe. Like, everyone, like Penguin's kind of like, okay, what is he got? Catwoman's like, what the fuck? And then Gordon's like, I'm just confused right now. What is this?
He's like, when the hell? Like, here's my thing, though. There's no, like, how long was that sitting there? Because everyone would have heard that fucking thing coming.
I'm just going to steal your line from 5 minutes ago about the building. Doesn't matter. It looked cool.
Okay, fair enough.
Because here's the thing. The way I process it is Gordon was in his car tailing Penguin, but we assume Batman was next to Gordon when they were initially tailing him from the club. So how did Batman get to the recycling plant without being in Gordon's car? He took the Batmobile. I mean, you're right. How did he park quietly? But no. Yeah. And look, at least for the Batmobile, they have a chance to improve on it with some gadgets. Nothing too crazy, but
yeah, just like machine guns, something like that.
Yeah, but like comparing to other ones, it's like, all right, the Keaton one, obviously it's famous, but let's be honest, it's like 5 feet too long on the nose.
Yeah.
Christian Bale's one, it's nice, but let's be honest, it's a military device that's just spray painted black. So yeah,
Ben Affleck's one was just
a beast.
nutty. Yeah, that thing was just absolutely nutty.
That's the thing, like this is a car that fits this version of Gotham. Like I can see Bruce Wayne driving this around, or Batman, really. I mean, Bruce Wayne would be caught in this, but this car fits in like the traffic of Gotham. Christian Bale and Ben Affleck don't. Like you see them coming, you're like, oh shit, that's Batman.
Yeah, you don't even have to see him because you'll hear him.
You'll hear him. You hear him like 3 blocks down, 5 blocks down, really.
That thing was a goddamn beast. But you can also tell that this Bruce really likes muscle cars.
Mm-hmm.
Shows up in a Corvette Stingray real quick for the funeral.
He's got taste.
Also, his Batmobile kind of had inspirations from that car as well.
Oh yeah,
like slightly, maybe certain parts of the frame could have been modified from it, based around it. But
now, I think one thing we haven't touched on in this film is And again, I would like to say this to counteract that the film is super dark and tense, or whatever, which it is. There was quite a few good jokes in this film.
Yeah, there was.
The thumb drive, like it's dark humor, but it's funny.
And it really works within
It works within the film.
yeah, especially within Batman itself.
The running gag of do you know who I am? I'm trying to get in the club.
Yeah. The twins was an interesting one as well. Also, let's talk about the banter between Penguin, Gordon, and Batman.
Yeah, I didn't expect Penguin to be giving us a Spanish lesson while he's tied up, but hey.
Yeah. And honestly, for how much we got of him, Colin Farrell did a great job as the Penguin. I'm excited to see more of where that goes because it also sets him up to be an enemy of Batman in the future because he's kind of left with Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he's the major crime lord now. So
yeah.
Well, then I guess it's good that Matt Reeves has said in interviews that the Penguin show is a lot closer to getting ready to film than the Gotham PD show. So we should be seeing that probably before the sequel.
Okay.
So we'll begin seeing more of him soon. But yeah, I thought he killed it. He really was unrecognizable. Like not just like all easily prosthetics and the fat suit, just the way he talked as well. Like all together. Like I don't think it's the same guy from In Bruges.
No, or Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or Fantastic Beasts. Where to find them?
Uh-huh. They should put him back in that franchise. I'll save it.
They might. He was the best thing, or not the best thing, but he was great in that movie as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, there was not a bad performance in the whole movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, Andy Serkis as Alfred, he was good. It's just he was in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we didn't really get a lot of him to be able to gauge. But Robert Pattinson, great job.
Well, I guess talking about performance-wise, I mean, we can't say much because we weren't showing much, but I gotta ask, what do you think about the Joker?
Well,
I think the laugh is okay. I think I can warm up to it, but I'm gonna need some time.
See, here's where I'm gonna disagree with you. I was more worried about how he was talking.
Actually,
and then the laugh.
Did you understand what he was saying? Because I listened to an IMAX, I could understand like every other sentence.
I could understand it, but
But again, that's less of him, more the sound mixing for that scene. It's just kind of.
Yeah. I was gonna say the sound mixing was a little off for that scene.
Yeah.
Because my friend who I saw it with, he didn't hear the riddle that Joker asked him.
Yeah, I heard like half of that, but I could hear Paul Dano fine. I could get most of what he was saying in the film. It's just for that scene. For Joker, it was like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more detailed pictures.
Yeah.
Of this guy, because the prosthetics look kind of crazy. They're going for a scarred Joker look again.
Yeah, from what Matt Reeves has said, is this version of Joker, there's no chemical bath that he falls into. It is more of a genetic disorder that he's had since birth, and that he's basically grown up with it. So we're basically going to be looking at a 20 to 30-year-old Joker who's had whatever messed up face he's had it to some degree since he was born, which is interesting.
It definitely is, because
definitely he's gonna. I think with that, obviously, you would think the mental state of that person would not be great.
No,
I mean, if I've had something like that on my face most of my life, I wouldn't be normal.
Yeah, but so you're saying you'd be a Joker, Tyler? That's what you're saying.
I would be a Joker.
You'd immediately resort to life crime.
Well, I know if everyone rejected me because of my face, maybe.
Well, honestly, he would have been okay during the pandemic. He would have been wearing a mask.
Yeah.
He would have been all right.
Pandemic's his best life.
Exactly. He got a solid 2 years.
I know we've talked a lot about it already, but one thing that, I say one thing, but it's another great thing about the film is the atmosphere and how they build up the tension. And the quickest way they do that is the beginning of the film, where the bat signal goes up into the sky. All the criminals freak out.
Yes,
they are just panicking.
He's gonna pop out anywhere.
Like that helps build the setting of where we are with this Batman. Yeah, he is newish. He's only got 2 years under his belt, but criminals know enough about him that if you see that signal up, do not stand in the dark corner anywhere.
Yep, he's somewhere. He's definitely somewhere. Let's see.
The music. I was
Yes.
surprised we got more of Something in the Way by Nirvana. I thought initially that was something for the trailers. Clearly, it's a centerpiece of the movie's score.
Yes, and here's a funny thing. Robert Pattinson turned that off.
Oh, what do you mean?
The scene where Alfred first comes down in the Batcave after he comes in, the first time Something in the Way is playing, when Alfred starts talking to him, Bruce Wayne hits the radio and the song turns off.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. So I was like, wait a minute. So this dude was just thinking of that song.
He was actually listening to it while investigating.
Yep. He had his Galaxy Buds in because Batman's an Android user.
Oh, he probably is.
Yeah.
He's probably got
So
the Batman OS.
Yeah,
He's custom made.
It's easier to hack than an iPhone, I guess. And upgrade.
It's also interesting, like this version of Gotham, like it's set present day clearly, based on the timeline, and you've seen that with like the tombstones and all that, and with the smartphones. But for Matt Reeves and the team, it's not just simple modern day generic city. It's modern day stuff, but the buildings are older, some of the cars are older, and that contrasts with the fact that Riddler is the Zodiac killer in the live stream days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like the fact that he didn't say like and subscribe to my channel is like, I mean, you were close to saying it, man.
Honestly, I was laughing when it was like his podcast.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks for coming, guys. You know.
Oh no, that shit was funny. If he said like and subscribe, I would have laughed out loud in the theater. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I thought it was cool how we saw the formation of the first supervillain gang, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah.
That he had a bunch of followers, and then they were just like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this."
Okay. All right. I'm gonna take that comment. Stop. Because they also mentioned this movie. Oh wow, he has a lot of followers. He has 500. That's not a lot these days. I'm sorry, Matt Reeves. You need to bump it up to a couple thousand.
No, I laughed at that too. So I was like, 500 is not that much.
That's nothing.
500, but let's put it this way, Tyler. Let's put this in perspective. Yes, having 500 followers isn't that crazy, but what is the caliber of these followers? Because the majority of them were all kind of nutcases and gearing up for war themselves. Now, 500 followers is not a lot for a social media standard, but having, let's say, even having 100 or 200 followers in the sense that they are going to
that's a mini army that can get stuff done. Yeah. Okay.
So that's a formidable force in that sense, because a lot of his followers were active and did end up showing up. Now, was there 200 of them? No. But in that grand scheme of things, I could see how that's like, well, he does have a lot. Because if they're all potentially a threat.
Okay. That's a fair point. Yeah, I agree.
Another small tidbit here. He was kind of a small Batman. Out of the suit. It's kind of small.
Kind of weird because I think Patterson in real life is like 6'2", so he ain't exactly like short.
No, I mean like, being yoked up wise.
Yeah. Well, I think to be fair, I mean, I think it's just because we're coming off of Ben Affleck being like just massive jacked, but like Christian Bale wasn't really built. Like, he was toned, but he wasn't jacked.
Batman Begins, he had a decent amount of size on him.
Yeah, but not Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises.
It's fair enough. But this is a younger Batman we're talking about here. Now, yeah, he's strong as shit in this movie. It just doesn't really look like it reflects. Small nitpick.
Well, maybe as he gets older, he'll yoke up a bit.
Maybe.
Depending on the villains he faces, he might feel the need to.
I want to know where his training came from, though. Because Alfred mentioned he taught him how to fight, but to what caliber?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot to go into this because, like, all right, he's been crime fighting for 2 years. Based on timeline I saw online, people put together parents died when he was around 8, and he's around 28 in the film. So from like what, say 15 to 26 years old, what was Bruce Wayne doing?
It's a great question. But I'm glad they kind of skipped all that because it kind of worked well. Because I think
Yeah.
society is done seeing Bruce Wayne's parents get gunned down in an alleyway for like the 18th time.
Actually, no, you actually just brought up a good point with Alfred because I did notice in most scenes he was walking with a cane. So how much could he actually train him? Like he could train him, but then he would need a sparring partner, and Alfred couldn't do that.
Or maybe, plot twist, Alfred was the sparring partner, and Bruce is the reason why he's using the cane.
If that's the case, then Bruce is even more of a fucking dickhead for treating him like that.
Yep.
Hey, I'm sorry, I almost crippled you, but you're not a Wayne. I don't care what my father said.
Yeah, you're not my dad. I'll beat the shit out of you. Like,
Want me to do it again?
Man. Fucking ripped Alfred's hamstring, and that's why he's walking with a goddamn cane.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's honestly, this movie was fantastic. But I want to bring up that one scene again. I literally sat up in my chair when he grabbed the precursor to Venom or whatever that is. I'm calling it the precursor to Venom, like the base formula. When he grabbed that shit, I sat up in my chair real quick because it was instant, and he was in fucking beast mode. Kind of like, when Logan took that shot of whatever that was.
Yeah.
And went fucking nutty. Like, that was great. But another problem I'm gonna have in this movie, to bring it up because it's coming from that scene, he was kind of a sleepy Batman.
Sleepy.
How many times did he get knocked out in this movie?
Twice.
Granted, there was reasons for it.
Yeah. I would think explosion right to the face. I mean, he should be happy he's not killed.
Yeah, I was that's when I was like, all right, the suit's a little too OP.
Oh, okay. So all right. So at least you agree with me. All right.
I said,
okay.
Yes. In that sense, I was like, all right, this suit's a little fucking much.
I was kind of wondering.
He just took an explosion, and also his face. That still looks mostly like a leather mask. It doesn't look like there's much armor there.
Especially with the stitching around the nose, stands out.
Yeah. Like, maybe it has some Kevlar in there, but that's not stopping a fucking C4 blast right to your face. Like, no.
See, I would believe that more if at like the last second he pushed him away and like jumped back mid explosion. It was like, okay, you got some distance, but no, he took that face first.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty dumb. I think Batman would have like got out of the way.
Yeah,
but he stayed there. Yeah. He stayed there way too fucking long.
Look, it's under 20 seconds. At this point, Riddler's just yelling at the guy consistently. He's like, "You're not going to get your answers. Just step back."
Yeah, I do like how that guy was like, "Nope, I'm not a snitch. No way, man." Like, I'll tell you how much I can be bribed for, which seemed pretty low, honestly. Like
10 grand? I mean, come on.
10 grand? Like, Jesus, no wonder this city's a shit show.
If the DA can be bought with 10 grand, Jesus.
Yeah, like, fuck, man. What is Gotham, like, paying this guy, the head DA?
It has to be like 2 grand a year if 10 grand's all it takes.
He must be getting paid like 40 grand a year. Oh, wait, it's like a quarter of his fucking salary.
Wait, hold on. Isn't it? Didn't he say, hold on, it was 10 grand a month, right? Might have been 10 grand a month.
I don't know if it was a month.
Because 10 grand a month makes more sense than 10 grand a year.
Well, it wouldn't be a year. It's just to pay him off. So it's not like you're on his books for a year. It's like, hey, listen, we need you to throw this case. Here's 10 grand.
Well, I thought you mentioned he was supposed to throw other cases as well. It wasn't just the main one that they were, the Maroney one.
I think kind of the way it works is every time he throws the case, he gets 10 grand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Like, it's not kind of like a salary thing. Like, hey, listen, you're...
All right, it's basically a contract pay.
Yeah. Yeah, movie was fucking fantastic. But I know we're not going to do an official ranking, but I kind of want to ask a question, Tyler. Where does this stack up? I really want to know.
Well, are we talking like just Batman films overall?
You want to exclude Batman vs Superman and Justice League?
I mean, I'm not going to give a full ranking. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell everyone listening right now. It is better than all Batman films besides The Dark Knight. And I'm not saying it could be better than The Dark Knight. It's just there is so much to process in this film.
Yeah.
I may have to see it one more time before I give it official. Is it better than Dark Knight? I would say it's on par with Dark Knight.
I would agree wholeheartedly with that statement. Just because it did a lot of things so well. Like, Dark Knight is really a tough movie to beat.
It's an all-time classic.
But that's mostly on the performance of Heath Ledger. if you took him out of the movie, which it's like saying, well, if you just have a whole different movie, it wouldn't be as good. But kind of in the sense that movie was only as successful as Heath Ledger made it to be. But on that note, just because we don't want to give our rankings today doesn't mean that you don't have to.
But do
As
we
always,
recommend the film? Hold on. I know it's an easy yes, but we do have to give our
come
official
on.
ranking. It's a yes for
Do we
me.
even have to bring it up?
We got to bring it up. We have a formula to stick to. They need to know if it's a simple yes or no from us. It's a yes.
Well, that's a no from me, Tyler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, this movie is just too good. So until it comes out in streaming, just wait for it there. I don't want theaters to be too packed every time I want to go see this movie once a week. But yeah, no, obviously it's a yes for me. Fantastic film overall, not just a fantastic Batman film, but everything. It really did live up to the hype. It really did. We didn't get a single bad trailer from the movie, and the movie really delivered. So here's my formal apology, Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. You guys fucking killed it. As always, we want to know your thoughts. Have you seen the Batman yet? If you haven't, the hell are you waiting for, bud? Go get to that shit. But let us know at Entertainment Expansion. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. As always, thank you for listening. It's The Dark Knight's out.